yeah, should we hop in the game and get to it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Right, I just need to do some filling over here. Right, let's tab you over to the game. Awesome. Cool. All yours.
Right, and I'll take over.
So yeah, Dan will be driving today, seeing as he's the expert and spent his whole life playing this game, pretty much. Where in Sweden is the game being asked? We haven't specified a location yet, did we? Or
no,
did we?
It's not a real place. We've kind of modeled it on lots of different parts of Sweden.
Yeah.
It is on the coast of Sweden, and generally modeled, I think, kind of more around near Stockholm, that kind of part, not way up north. But we want the island to kind of represent lots of different parts of Sweden, so you should be able to recognize a lot of different parts of Sweden.
Cool. Okay, to do some quick furniture removal there. We're going to have another developer who's going to join us a little bit later, which is Emil, our game director. So that was his chair you saw in shot there, which I've now sneakily removed. So this is like right in the beginning sort of stages in the game, but it's not really so relevant as to the final product in terms of the gameplay flow as such. This was more of a bite-sized piece we put together to demo some systems, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. We didn't take an exact mission. We created something special.
Yeah. Cool. So we're joined by AC, who is another one of our community managers. She's going to be our sidekick through this session here, and yeah, just give us some backup firepower for what's to come. So obviously we're in the setting, I think we mentioned, is 1980s Sweden. So the layouts and the designs you see here are obviously something that's been created to represent that. Our dev team, you know, the bulk of them are Swedish. They grew up in this era. This is all very close to home, and hopefully you can see that. Any of our Swedish fans in chat, hey, you'll be able to sort of recognize some of this hopefully from your memories. Lots of IKEA furniture.
Yeah, we did a lot of research to kind of try to recreate that authentic 80s Sweden kind of feel. Hopefully, you guys are recognizing it. I know that I think Emil says he had this couch. Or was it to be?
Emil had this. So this is actually designed based on our game director's actual couch. How's that for getting personal? Post-apocalyptic is being asked in Mixer chat. I guess you could say this is post-apocalyptic of sorts. I mean, it is a kind of end of days-ish scenario in terms of the world isn't what it's quite used to be, I guess.
Yeah, it's not immediate. It's not, sorry, the kind of usual post-apocalyptic.
No, it's not, 10 years later, everything's in ruins.
Exactly.
It's more, this has happened,
yeah,
like
right
now.
The
You're
day
on the
after.
cusp of it. Yeah.
The
day after scenario. Yeah, that's one you guys have been throwing around. Yeah.
So I'm going outside now.
Cool.
Raining.
So it's very dark.
Yep, and rainy.
Very dark and very rainy. Tell us more about dark and rain.
Well, it's set in November in Sweden, so dark and rainy is kind of quite common, I would say.
Don't talk to me about November in Sweden. It's coming up on us fast right now.
It's already started.
Yeah.
So obviously, yeah, we have a full day-night cycle and weather system, and the weather will affect things like visibility and how well you can hear things and see things. So it does affect your gameplay somewhat.
And the weather is entirely dynamic as well, isn't it?
Entirely dynamic. Yeah. Lots of different kinds of weather. All of it trying to recreate that authentic Sweden November feel.
People are asking to turn the motion blur off. Unfortunately, it's not something we're able to do. This is, as you can see by the text at the top, a work in progress build, so we don't have all of the kind of
we have
switches you would normally have on here.
We simplified and removed that stuff for the demo. So.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Let's explore. So we're coming into one of the towns here. This is kind of one of the first towns you'll find in the game. So it's kind of the player's introduction to bigger settlements. And right here, we find some enemies. So these are what we call seekers. They are kind of scout-like machines. And AC's shooting them. Wait for me!
no messing around with AC.
Yeah.
Straight into business.
Shift forward and all my talking.
Yeah. So tell us more about the Seekers if AC holds on a sec.
So they are they're kind of a scout machine. So they'll fly about the landscape, actually looking for things for the other machines to actually go and either attack or maybe go and look for resources or stuff like that. And as such, you kind of need to be careful because they will call for backup. They're not there to fight you, they're there to tell other machines about what's around.
So although they're not immediately scary, they have, you know, the big brothers and sisters that can come and clean up for them, I guess.
Yeah, so taking them out quickly is important if you don't want to be surprised by a sudden huge amount of machines coming and ruining your day. Yes,
that sounds like a great idea. And, I mean, stealth is an important part of this game as well, isn't it? It's not just running in, guns blazing in all cases. You do get rewarded for kind of taking it easy and...
Well, definitely, and it's kind of necessary. I mean, these are big war machines designed for combat in a lot of cases. So you, as a Swede with a pistol, you're not going to stand much chance against them. So you really need to use your environment to help you.
At least in the beginning, before you get some better firepower, maybe some skills behind you and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But I guess there's always going to be an element, though. You're not going to run in guns blazing against 5 of our big tank machines and some of the others that are yet to be mentioned.
You need to take it more tactically. And
yes.
Speaking of which, so from those machines, I scavenged some EMP cells. Now these are a tool that we can use to help us get through combat in a better way. So what these do is they're kind of like a grenade, but they create an EMP pulse which will stun enemies that are caught in it. So if we get overwhelmed, we can pop one of these and either run away, which is completely fine, you're going to have to do that.
Yep.
Or take them out while they're powered down quickly before they power back up again.
Sure, and I have actually been doing plenty of running away in our recent build. This, you're going to see the tuning in this current game we're playing right now compared to the one we'll show you a little bit later is quite different because it is so much in flux at the moment as we're developing on it. It's a little bit more gently tuned, I'd say, this one, compared to the new build where I get murdered right now. Can we know the hardware this demo is running on? It's a 7700K on a 1080, I think. Just bear in mind that this is not representative of any optimization or smoothness or quality of gameplay when it's live. This is our in-development build. So we haven't had any of these nice passes where we polish things up, make it nice and smooth and get it ready for consumers. You're going to see a little bit of juddering. You're going to see a little bit of janking around. Maybe we'll get a crash, but hopefully not, holding fingers. But this is super duper early and we just wanted to get it out there so you can see it. So please bear that in mind when you're asking about of how things look, etc. We're able to customize how our character looks. We are, aren't
yes.
we?
I don't think I've actually picked up anything.
Not yet, no.
No, I've got some pink hair though.
You've got some pink hair you can switch out. But yeah, you will be able to loot and find different sort of items of apparel, accessories, makeups, this kind of thing as you're playing through the game, which will allow you to customize your character how you like. We give you some initial kind of base what do you call them, stereotypes to begin with. So you might get the punk kid, the heavy metal kid, the nerd, this kind of thing. So we give you some sort of base ones to start with, and then however you want to style it is up to you as you go on, really.
Seeing if I can find any clothing in here.
Being asked, is there going to be a single player / story mode? So you can play this single player or up to 4 total, so you and 3 others. So single player or co-op, and any number in between, basically. Yep. There is a story throughout the game, which you will discover as you play it. It's not really a hard, hand-holdy kind of story, but more we give you the sort of directions and the ability to kind of uncover it as you play through, let's say. But yes, you can absolutely play it on your own and then just enjoy the story, enjoy the exploration, enjoy the world, and finding out what's going on and you know, where you fit in. Absolutely. When will the beta begin? Well, we can actually tell you that. The beta will be starting on October the 17th, and that will run through to October 21st. So if you haven't done already, please sign up on generationsero.com. We have the beta sign-ups there, and they do close September the 30th. So you're going to need to get in there before the end of the week, Well, no, actually, where are we now? We're 26 now, so you've got a few days. But get in there, sign up. Beta is coming October 17th. So, yeah, there are going to be a limited amount of space, 100,000. Hopefully we can fit you all in. But yeah, please do join.
All right. Carrying up on some enemies here. We're going to have to do some combat.
Okay, here we go. So this is getting a little bit more real than the Seekers we've seen before. These are the runners, we call them, don't we?
So yeah, these guys are our runners. They're the kind of the basic, lowest grunt type of enemy. And AC's going to get seen there. What's she doing? She's starting something.
You're crazy, AC. Oh, she's gone for the distraction
Throwing a
route.
flare. No time for talking.
No time for talking. Let your rifle do the talking for you.
Where'd they go?
Will there be PvP? There will be no PvP. But as you can see, there's plenty of PVM, player versus machine combat. So what's happened here is AC has used a flare, which has distracted the machines. So they're actually taken a lot of the flak off of us and made what could have been a pretty tough fight, a pretty easy one, because they're busy shooting at a flare instead of us. And we have this electrical substation which came into play as well, I saw. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
So when AC threw that flare, it immediately it kind of aggravated everyone in this area, and they immediately started shooting at it, seeing it as the biggest target. So it was a perfect opportunity to jump in and just annihilate them while they were shooting at something else. And I also, for kind of good measure, I shot one of these electrical boxes, which caused these two guys here to get stunned temporarily to help us out a little bit more.
So we talked about the EMP blast from the battery cells that we had earlier, and these are basically the same effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there will be items around the world you can use tactically to sort of turn fights in your favour. Like you're stood right next to one now. You're next to a bomb. Yes. Should you need to, you can blow up cars next to machines. Works great.
Yep. Exactly. So there are a lot of those things, and those are the things you kind of want to look for to help turn the combat in your favour.
Yes. Those of you who missed it, here's some of the mixers saying, nope, no info on closed beta yet. We did just give you some information. The beta will be beginning October 17th, running through 21st. Sign up, generation0.com. Do it. Do it now. You have until September the 30th to get registered. How many weapons will be in the game? I don't think we have a number yet, but loads. Loads and loads. There's going to be, of course, different varieties of weapons, isn't there?
Yeah, well, we can look at those.
There's going to be different types of weapons in terms of you've got your rifles, you've got your assault rifles, you've got your pistols, you've got sniper rifles, you've got, you know, rocket-propelled grenades in some cases. But we also have quality levels as well, kind of in a similar to RPG-esque kind of manner, don't we?
So you can see from here, we've got a level 4 Muller, which is a police pistol, which is really good. And you saw the rifle that I picked up earlier. It's only a level 2, which isn't bad. Kind of low level. I'll be able to get better ones later on. It's not as bad as the lowest level, but it's still, you know, it's not as accurate, and will have a bit more recoil.
So general handling's not so good.
Exactly. General handling isn't so good.
Yeah, and you actually see that reflected on the firearm itself when you're using it in the game. An old, lower quality pistol, it's going to look rusty, it's going to look battered. Your muzzle flash is going to look, you know, crummy and really sort of jaggedy and sparky. Whereas a nice shiny newer pistol is going to get a cleaner muzzle flash. It's going to look shiny and new. There you can see the wear on this rifle.
Yeah, this is a bit of a dirty rifle. Hasn't been looked after.
No.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
How many words will be spoken and in what language? I can't say how many words there's going to be, but you will have some voiceover at different points in the world. Maybe as you're interacting, you might find an odd answering machine message or similar things like that. And we're going to be offering VO in both English and Swedish in those circumstances. No Heaven saying, I've yet to see a machine that gives enough challenge that's not simply a mob with bush damage, HP, or aim stats. Well, this is, like we said, very, very early build. Each machine you see does have different variation, which is going to have different kinds of weaponry. Maybe it has different kinds of sensors, for example, infrared, heat-seeking sensors, that kind of thing, which will all dictate how it goes about attacking you. These are all very low-level, basic stuff that we're showing here, so they're not really the kind of thing that's going to give us too much of a concern. But you're going to get some plenty tough fights coming up. as we sort of work towards launch and show some of the later stuff, let's say. And we just saw a new enemy type there, which is the tick.
Just ran into the ticks. Now these are nasty. They just kind of they run at you and jump at you. They're not clever. They're just very, very dangerous and annoying. They're the kind of thing that you find in the kind of the dark places.
Yeah.
In the world.
So basically, when you least expect it, they're the ones that give you the jump scares and the
They'll
screams.
jump out.
Yeah.
So the mission here, I don't think we explained the mission. The mission was to find the shelter.
This looks like a shelter.
Which is here, yes.
Skydrum, as it is Swedish.
So we've now found it. Hopefully there'll be people here. Doesn't look like there are people here though. All the lights are off. And it is pretty empty. But there is a new gun.
There is a new gun. Automatgewehr 4.
Yes.
I won't try and translate it into Englishy style speak. I just do it in my very bad pronounced Swedish instead. But so these firearms that you're going to be finding in the game, for the most part, or is it in all cases right now, are based upon the kind of things you could expect to find in Sweden in some way or another. So be it military rifles, or perhaps it's a farmer's shotgun or a hunting rifle, this kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is based on the Swedish military rifle in the 80s. So yeah, you would find these all over the place.
Yep. I'm being asked, is there a skill tree? There is indeed a skill tree. We have a very, very early version of it in here right now. So the UI here is complete placeholder and not the final product. But there will be the ability to sort of customize as you go through. Maybe you want to elaborate.
So these skill trees, you can put points into any of these and all of them to build the kind of character that you want. You know, if you want a support character who is also a little bit good at sniping, you can do that. Just spend your points between the trees. And yeah, it will allow you to customize your character and make the kind of character that you want. The kind
so you can mix it up, match it, so you know, maybe how you want to play solo, maybe if you're playing in a group you want to take a different kind of role.
Yep.
Or
and if you're playing in a group, maybe you want to have a few different characters that are set up with different skill trees, or different combinations of skill trees to help with your, I don't know, fitting in with your friend's group.
Yes. Awesome. Being said, it's called Automatkarbin 4 and not Automatgewehr 4, but we're not taking the exact names of the rifles.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
It's inspired by or similar to. Yeah.
But it's great that you recognized it.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So I've just turned the power on in this bunker because it was obviously turned back off. So now we can actually see what we're doing, and let's find out if there's anything here. Pistol.
We have that one already, don't we? So not so interesting. Some grenades, though. They're fun.
Grenades. Yes, we will take some grenades.
Being asked, is there an end game, or is the main focus around the co-op storyline, and will it be a game you can complete? I mean, there will be things to keep you coming back after you've explored the story elements of the game, won't there?
Yep.
We haven't really said too much on that just yet, but we'll actually start to talk about that more in the coming weeks and months as we work towards launch. You know, what is there for you to do outside of the sort of storyline kind of element, and expect more info on that soon. For now, we're just more following a storyline segment.
Which is taking us to this computer, which has given us some information. So
getting some love for the Commando Omega in chat there.
Yeah, it's really cool. So let's look at our mission. So we've reached the shelter. No one was here. So this has given us some information that there might be people at this this farm here. So if we look at the map, we can look at the map now, I guess. We can kind of get a sense for how big the world is. So we started here.
Yeah.
And we walked through town to this shelter here. And we're going to go all the way over to this farm now.
Cool. Let's have a zoom out and see.
So in context, this is the entire world.
Well, now that's a big world.
So it's going to take a while for you to find everything and get everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to find and do. So let's head out to that farm. Oh wait, there's some loot here. Loot!
Don't forget the loots. So always plays to look in corners, you know, check check for goodies. You'll find it in cars, you'll find them in buildings as you pass by small villages or little sort of hunting shacks, sheds. There's always going to be places to look around and dig for loot. So now we see actually it's become daylight now since we've been underground in the tunnels. It was just about sort of dawn as we started playing. And the sun's come out now, so we can start to appreciate some of the environment a little bit more.
And the rain stopped.
And the rain has indeed stopped, yeah. The sun's coming out behind the clouds.
Lovely.
Unfortunately, it's not doing that today in Stockholm, but...
and we've got some more enemies here.
We've got some more enemies. AC's charging in. She's got the bloodlust. Or oil lust, I guess.
Alright. Let's take out this car.
Being asked what engine, this is the Apex engine. It's our own in-house developed engine that we use here at Avalanche.
My attempt to take out the car failed.
Tried to make the car go pop. I actually did that when we were practicing pre-stream earlier today and launched AC across the roads.
So AC there handled it for me, which is great. I probably shouldn't have shot at the car. It didn't help at all.
No. I think a shotgun tends to make quick work of them if you get all the pellets on target. Are you and your teammates the only human NPCs in the whole game? We won't comment on that just yet, because that's something we'd like you to probably discover more. But it's not going to be, let's say, like Fallout, where you can be running around from quest giver to quest giver and talking to people all the time. This is a scenario where, you know, people have disappeared and you're the only remaining survivors that you know of. So don't expect to find populated villages of people, but we won't sort of say any more than that, really. We don't want to spoil things.
So now I've got a shotgun.
Will it be limitless open world? Are we free to roam anywhere within the boundaries of the show map? Yes, you are, I believe. Are we going to have the whole thing initially from day one? Yeah. Any info for consoles? This is going to be coming out for PS4, Xbox, and PC, so across those three platforms. Do projectiles have travel time, drop, and penetration through certain materials in terms of gunfire? We don't have penetration mechanics.
No, we don't have penetration, but we do have travel and drop. I don't know if you'll be able to see it here. It's a bit hard to tell,
especially in the rain.
Water. Yeah, it started to rain again. Typical. Let's see. So, no, it's hard to see at these distances. The speeds of the bullets generally are kind of modelled realistically, and the drop as well. So
you need to go quite some range before you're going to actually see it being a factor. We're not talking like some... I almost said a game then. I won't say like this game. Some games, you know, you fire your rifle and you can see it go like this. That's not going to be the case because we're kind of realistically modelling to some extent, and you do have to launch a bullet quite some distance before it sort of starts to hit the dirt. So.
Alright, so...
What about the save game? Is it the same in group as when you play in single? Yes, you can take your single player progress directly across to another group of people, or they can join straight into your game partway through as well if you wanted to. So no worries there. Modding, will that be available? There will not be any modding, sorry to say. Again, we use our own in-house custom engine. It makes it more difficult. Oh, we have some ticks appeared. They really do a good job at hiding, but you made short work of them with the shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun, not a
yeah.
Alright.
Okay, now we got some action up ahead.
Oh, they're coming.
They are coming.
Let's... So AC there has stunned these ones. So we're safe for a little while. So we can take it out.
Yeah.
So AC there made it easy again.
AC, lay off the stun grenades next time so we can give them a fighting chance and we can watch them shoot back.
I prefer not to die. But
yeah.
Actually, I did pick up some clothes at that last place.
Oh, you did?
What did I get? Oh, I got this fabulous cap there.
Beautiful. Little tufty thing going on the back.
Yeah. What else have we got? Oh, I got some shoes, didn't I? Yes. Shirts. No. Torn jeans. Some torn jeans on.
Nice. They are some pretty fancy looking jeans.
Some gold rings.
Very nice. We should also mention as well that clothing is not just cosmetic. You will find clothing... Oh, you can actually see it here.
So I picked up some red trainers. And red trainers, obviously, they make you go faster.
Yeah, I think every 8-year-old at school knows that. You get brand new red trainers,
Absolutely.
you're going to jump higher, you're going to run faster, you're going to be better at football.
So that is amazing. I also got some white ones, some purple ones. No, red ones, obviously the best.
Clearly.
Great.
Again, we can't turn off motion blur, unfortunately. This is a very, very early development build we have, so we don't have all the bells and whistles and kind of settings that we would normally have in the final game, unfortunately. So I don't play motion blur either, but I get what you mean. Can you get masks to cover your face? There'll be all kinds of different things. I've seen some really cool stuff actually in the office already being made. So yeah, there will be plenty of options for that kind of thing.
Oh, there we go. So now I've got a...
Oh wow, that is an awesome, awesome helmet. That's the first time I've actually seen that. That's super cool.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff in here. AC, let's go up here. I'm going to go this way.
What's the end game goal? Can you ever finish the game? Well, the story will be finite, of course. But, you know, once you've uncovered what's going on and kind of found your way to the end of the story portion, but that won't be the end of the game by any means. There'll be other things to keep you occupied, let's say. We're going to cover more of that in the coming weeks and months. But for now, we're more talking about a small segmented story experience, and we'll talk about the more out-of-story stuff, let's say, in the near future. Will it be full 21.9 ultra-wide support? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Have to ask.
That's generally the kind of thing we kind of
work.
work out towards the end, isn't it? When we're kind of punching up things, and I would hope so, because I have one. Make it happen. You're going to have a cheerleader right here who'll be forcing them. Fear not. Is there any pay-to-win aspects in the game? Yes, you have to buy it to be able to play it. If you don't buy it, you can't play it and you can't win. That's about it. There is not any microtransactions or anything like this kind of thing. There might be some DLC elements after we've released the game and it's live, you know, updates. Maybe we want to add... Oh, I won't say things, because otherwise you might think that's me promising them. But cool stuff in the future, in the form of DLC, but there won't be kind of magic guns that's going to make you super good and better than everybody else and that kind of thing.
So, just comment on what we just found there. This is a weapon storage place, thing, shed. I don't know what you call it. But these are actually real in Sweden. So there are loads of these little readiness storage sheds around the countryside filled with weapons.
Or at least there were at this time period during the
exactly.
you know, end of the Cold War kind of era.
So it's definitely something that you want to keep an eye out for, because they will contain weapons and ammo and cool stuff like that.
You heard it here first. I just had a thought, actually. It's kind of ironic that we managed to find like the 2 out of 3 Brits on the entire team to demo the game, which is set in Sweden in the 1980s. We will get a Swede on here a little bit later, fear not. And AC, actually, she's giving us our Swedish representation there as player 2. Weather, question mark. If you joined at the start of the stream, you would have seen some rain, and I think it dried up and then rained a little bit more. Weather is entirely dynamic, so it will change as you're playing the game. You will see different weather effects, and it will have a bearing on how machines react to you, because the machines do have modeled senses. They have sense based on sight, sound, etc. So rain, for example, might muffle their ability to detect you via sound, as you would expect. So weather is there, and it does play a part. There we go. The weather storage is called Kassun, I presume.
That
yes?
is. That is. I didn't know what they were called in English.
Yes. This game gets skins for weapons. I mean, obviously we showed a lot of clothing customization, or told them a lot about the clothing customization. We're not going to see, like, you know, Dragon Flame AKs and that kind of thing, like Counter-Strike, let's say. But,
not in the base game.
Sorry?
Not in the base game.
Not in the base game. Okay, so maybe in the future we get some more customization.
Don't want to make any promises. Alright, we've got more. Okay, these guys.
These look a bit tougher than the runners we saw before.
These guys are more dangerous.
Oh wow, that one has a rocket launcher. Okay.
These are higher level, and they've got armor, and this one has a rocket launcher.
AC is doing work right there. And again, talking about how, you know, these were tougher runners, but still they were, you know, we cleaned them up pretty quick. This is set to be really quite easy gameplay because this build was originally used to demo to journalists who didn't necessarily have the time to get familiar with the game, and they were kind of thrown straight into the seats. So intentionally, we've made these machines a little bit easier. When in the final product, which we'll show you a bit later, they hurt a lot more. You mentioned armor as well, and there's something I haven't covered yet. We mentioned it in our gameplay trailer, but armor actually does serve a real purpose in this game, doesn't it? It's not just, you know, there to look pretty and look bulky.
Yeah. So the higher level enemies have a lot more armor, and the armor plates are actually there to actually protect the organs, or the not organs,
subcomponents,
components inside.
Kind of
so
thing,
like the batteries and the CPU and all of that kind of stuff. And you will need to remove that armor if you want to get at that component. So it adds a level of you know, more tactics, where you're going to need to focus on that piece of armor if you want to take what's underneath it.
Yeah.
And it just makes them generally tougher.
So kind of thinking like old Konami kind of boss fights where you get the huge massive monster and you have to bash off the armor plate and then you can get to the soft bits underneath. Oh, what do we have there?
Yeah, what is this?
Carl Gustav-ish. Our version of, yes. So it's was a self-propelled grenade launcher?
Yes. I will take that. Now we're ready. Anything? Oh, we got a backwards cap. Cool. So yeah, this obviously is going to be great against the bigger machines. It's designed for taking down bigger enemies.
Yes.
And against the smaller machines as well.
I guess anything. But
ammo is going to be scarce. It's
Yeah.
not like you're going to be finding these next to every yellow car on the road that you come across.
Yeah, something you need to save for special occasions.
Yeah.
Let's say. Being asked about weapon rarity, is there going to be things like a common shotgun or legendary shotgun? We did show that off earlier on. There is definitely, yes, different varieties of sort of weapon qualities.
Yep.
So ranging from kind of rubbish, it's been found in the dirt and it doesn't perform very well, it looks kind of janky, up to shiny, pristine military hardware you just got out from a weapons locker. So, and performance difference varies in between them, as you'd expect as well. Will the number of enemies depend on if you play alone or as a group? As in, will there be kind of a scaling difficulty effect in that respect?
No, we're not scaling based on the group. The enemy difficulty is scaled based on the region of the world that you find them in. So there'll be hard regions and there'll be easy regions, or regions where you find hard enemies and regions where you find easy enemies.
There's a good question. Will shooting machines in certain parts affect the behavior of them? I.e., if I shoot a scanner off them, making them blind, will they have to rely on sound? Yes! Maybe you want to tell more about that.
Exactly that. So the components that we talked about, I don't want to get... AC, come back.
Come back, AC.
She's gonna trigger the end of the mission.
AC, come back.
So
no, she's off.
The components we talked about earlier, some of those will actually, for example, they will govern the sight of an enemy. Others will be like the batteries, and you saw me scavenge some EMP batteries. So there's two things. Firstly, if you kill like the sight organ component, yes, they should go blind and will only react to hearing. So you'll have a slightly easier time, but that component may also be tied to a mod that you can actually pick up and apply to your own weapons.
It's like a weapon upgrade.
Or, for example, a battery that you can use to throw at the enemies and stun them. So you kind of have to choose, once you learn where the actual components are, choose whether to take them or not.
So basically, if you shoot the good loot bit off the creature, don't expect to be able to loot it afterwards. Where you put your rounds has both an effect in how the machine functions whilst it's alive and fighting, and also in the loot that you get at the end. Which makes a lot of sense. Every game has its own Easter eggs. Yes, there's going to be Easter eggs around this game. Probably very special Swedish Easter eggs. We're about to drive cars or other vehicles, not in the base game at least. Maybe that's something we can think about, post-launch. But as of now, it's primarily, scouting around on foot. Is there hostile wild animals? No. Will this game have ray tracing? It does not. Although if they're to buy me a nice GTX 2080, I'll make it happen. Promise. No. Okay. Character customizable? Yes, there's going to be tons of hair customization, so your flock of seagulls hairstyle will likely be a thing. What did you do while I was talking to
blew myself up with a grenade.
Oh, well done.
And I missed.
Can we get a hardcore mode, no hard limited ammo and scarce resources? To be fair, limited ammo and scarce resources will be a thing anyway. But yes, there'll be different kinds of effects and difficulty scales. It's probably something to have. Okay, it's all got a bit crazy now.
Yeah, it is. There's guys with rockets out there. See if I can flank them. Oh, that was a bad idea. Run away!
Yeah, you don't want to face tank those things. And again, I'll say again, these machines right now are a lot easier than they will be in the final version. So normally Dan would be very, very dead at this point.
Oh, and here's the tank.
Oh,
Okay.
it's all gone nuts.
We're in trouble now.
Oh, now a tank's arrived.
Oh wait, we've got a rocket launcher.
We do have the cargo staff-ish.
I survived.
You did, kind of. Oh. Okay.
And there we go.
And there we go. Let's pop this back up here. So, yeah, what you just saw was the special behind closed doors demo that we showed to journalists during Gamescom this year. So this is something that no one else had got to see before you folks watching now.
Like and share if you enjoyed the video and think others might benefit from this, and of course subscribe and hit the notification button if you are new to the channel and want to be notified every time I post a video.